Alright, so this is the test for the unit number 2, and I'm gonna try to go as fast as I can and at the same time trying to explain a couple of things. So what is an equation of the line that passes through point 4, -6 and has a slope of -3? Okay, you have 4 choices, but it doesn't matter if you have 4 choices. You need to know how to do the problem. So to write the equation of the line, you need a slope and you need a y-intercept. Those are the main things. So if you don't have slope, then you have to find it, but in this case they give you the slope. So the slope is -3. Once you have the slope, you sum it upon y equals mx plus b. Once you have that, then you take a look at your point and you label it x and y, just like an order pair. And now do the third grade work, replace. So y is -6. The slope is -3. dx is 4. Okay. So, and then plus b, which is 100% of the time that you have what you have to find. All right, so let's solve the equation. So we have -6 equal to -12 plus b. Add 12 to both sides and you get b equal to 6. Now you write the equation of your line, which is y equals -3x plus 6. So y equals -3x plus 6. Choice number 1 is your answer. All right. Next one. Which equation represents a line that is perpendicular to the line represented by this? So first of all, in order to determine whether two lines are parallel or perpendicular, you need to know what the slope is. Here, I don't know what the slope is. I mean, I can tell you, solve for y. Now, this is the equation that you have. 2x minus y equals 7. So, how do I solve for y? Easy. Remember, to solve for y, you need to get rid of the loose number, need to get rid of the x, and need to divide by the number on the y. So one way of doing it would be, okay, or like a couple of my students would do is, they would take this y from here and put it here. So the y becomes positive. They'll take the 7 and put it over here, and the 7 becomes negative, and you solve for y. Y equals 2x minus 7. Now, if you don't know, then you do it the old-fashioned way. So we're gonna subtract 2x from both sides. Okay, 2x cancels out, bring down the -y, and then 7 minus 2x cannot be done because they're not like them, so you rewrite -2x plus 7, or 7 minus 2x, whichever way you want to do it. Now you cannot have a -y as an answer, so you're gonna have to multiply the whole thing by -1. There's so many ways in which you could do this. So when you multiply by -1, what you're doing is basically you're changing the sign of every single number in your equation. See, positive, and then this becomes negative. All right then. So now I know what the slope is. The slope of this line is 2 over 1, or just 2 if you don't know. So 2 over 1. So I'm looking for a line that has a slope that is perpendicular, meaning that the slope of a line perpendicular should be -1 over 2, because they change, you flip and you change the sign. So which of these has a slope of -1 over 2? Choice number 1. Alright. An equation of a line perpendicular to the line represented by the equation this, and that goes through this point. So I need to identify the slope. The slope, as you can see, it's already solved for y, so the slope is -1/2. So my slope is -1/2. I need a slope of a line perpendicular to it. Well, -1 over 2, then the slope should be +2 over 1. Since I'm going to use algebra, I'm just going to write number 2. Once you have a perpendicular slope and you have a point, then you need to find the y-intercept. So that means that you gotta sum upon y equals mx plus b. Remember, this is x and this is y. So let us replace over here. What is this number? Oh, -4, right? Oh, okay, so -4 equals 12 plus b. In this case, b equals, I'm not gonna start subtracting 12 from both sides. I already know what I have to do. I just need to calculate. So -4 minus 12 is -16. So I know that the slope, the y-intercept is -16 and the slope is 2. So my answer, okay, cool. The slope of line L is -1/3. What is the equation of a line that is perpendicular to line L? Well, if the slope of that line is -1/3, then the slope of a line perpendicular should be +3/1, or just +3. Now, it's just a matter of figuring out which of these lines has a slope of 3, which is perpendicular. Definitely, this is not gonna be, because I'm gonna have 1/3 x minus 2x, which is not gonna be a slope of 3. Here, the equation is almost solved for y. Okay, all I have to do is divide by 6. So if I divide by 6, the y-intercept becomes 1, because 6 divided by 6 is 1, and the slope becomes -2/6, which is the same thing as -1/3, which is not the slope that I'm looking for. I'm looking for a slope of 3. So let's take a look at choice number 3. You should be able to locate, okay, identify the slope with just by looking at the equation. Remember the steps to solve for y. Get rid of the loose number, get rid of the x term, and divide by the number on the y. Well, the loose number is already on the other side of the equal sign where the y was, so I don't need to move it. I need to take this 9x and give it to somebody. That only leaves me with the 3y, correct, on this side. Now I get back my 9x and it becomes negative. And then I write the 27. I bring down the +27. Now I divide by the number on the y. And this cancels out. Negative divided by negative is positive. 9 divided by 3 is 3. And 27 divided by 3, well, positive divided by negative is negative. 27 divided by 3 is 9. And at the end of the day, what's important is that I ended up with the slope of 3, which is the slope that I was looking for. So sometimes things are not what they seem. You gotta figure out what they are. Okay. The endpoints of CD are -2, -4 and 6, 2. What are the coordinates of the midpoint? Well, remember the midpoint. The midpoint of x, okay, is x1 plus x2 divided by 2. The midpoint of y is y1 plus y2 divided by 2. Okay? So, now let's figure it out. So I'm going to find the midpoint of x first. So this is x, this is y, this is x, and this is y. You should know that. Okay, so let's see now. x1 plus x2. -2 plus 6 is 4. Divided by 2 is, oops, 4 divided by 2. Okay, I haven't erased it. Alright, so 4 divided by 2 is 2. So that is what. Now let me find the midpoint of y. So I'm going to add the y's. So that'll be -4 plus 2. -4 plus 2 divided by 2. That is Negative 4 plus 2 is negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1. Making my midpoint 2 for x and negative 1 for y. 2, comma, negative 1. Choice C is your right choice. What is the distance between the points negative 3, comma 2 and 1, comma 0? Distance. We need to find out what the distance, and for that we need the distance formula. So the distance formula says, and remember the distance formula is like the Pythagorean theorem, okay? x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. I should have made this a little longer, okay, like that. Okay then, so we label xy, xy. You make this the ones, this the twos, and that's it. Or this the twos, this the ones. It really doesn't matter which order you follow. All right, so distance. Let's see. x2 minus x1, so 1 minus negative 3 square, okay, plus from the formula y2 minus y1, y2 0 minus y1, which is 2, so 0 minus 2 and square. Remember, it's like the Pythagorean theorem, okay? C squared equals to a squared plus b squared, then at the end you take the square root. Okay, so D is 1 minus negative 3 is 4 square, right? Let me put parentheses around it. Okay, 4 square plus from the formula 0 minus 2 is negative 2, negative 2 square. Okay, then let me follow over here, okay? So D equals, all right, 4 squared is 16 plus 2, negative 2 squared is 4. So I end up with square root of 20. Look at each of the choices, okay? And as seen in lesson number 9, I taught you how to do radicals. So that means that I have to simplify this radical. Well, this radical, 20, can be simplified into 4 and 5. Radical 4 times radical 5. The square root of 4 is 2. And radical 5 doesn't have, because there is no number that square gives you 5. So it stays at 2 radical 5, making your right choice, choice number 4. Okay? Cool then. If not, then you could just try with the calculator and see which of these choices has the same number as 2 radical 5. Okay. What is an equation of the line that passes through point 7,3 and is parallel to this line? Well, first you need to figure out what the slope of this line is. And I can tell you right now that get rid of the loose number. You're gonna get rid of the 4, okay? So first let's solve for y. So 4x plus 2y equals 10. Move the 4x to the other side and you get 2y equals to negative 4x plus 10. Then divide everything by 2 and you get y equals negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2x, sorry. You get negative 2x plus 10 divided by 2 is 5. Now I know that the slope of this line is negative 2 and I need a line parallel to it. So the slope of the line parallel to it is also going to be negative 2. Now that I have the slope and I have a point, then all I need is to sum upon, because I need the y-intercept, right? So I need to sum upon y equals mx plus b. So then I have y is 3, right? Because this is x and this is y. So 3, the slope, which is negative 2, the x, which is 7, and then plus b. Okay, negative 2 times 7 is negative 14 plus b. I'm going to add 14 to both sides. So 3 plus 14 is 17. Okay, so then the equation is nothing more than y equals to negative 2x, okay, negative 2 from here, plus 17. And there you go, that's your answer. All right, here. It says, write an equation for the line that is perpendicular to the given line and passes through the given point. Justify your response, okay? Sure. So first of all, I need the slope, okay, in order to determine a perpendicular line. So the slope of the original line is, well, you need to choose two nice points. Well, this point of the arrow points here, ends here, and this one ends, well, it doesn't. But I see that this is a nice point. Also, this is a nice point, I think, right? So I can go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Okay, so 3 down and 2 to the right. So the slope here is negative 3 over 2. Okay, so a slope perpendicular to that should be positive 2 over 3. Okay, now this point, what is the point? Negative 3 comma 0. Okay, so now with this I have the slope and I have the point. I could just sum it upon y equals mx plus b if you want to do it. Okay, like this, y equals mx plus b, and I just replace. So this is x and this is y, so the y is 0 equals to the slope, which is 2 over 3 times x. Oh, x, that's not times x, times the x, which is negative 3 plus b. Then 0 equals, and now negative 3, right? Negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. Negative 6 over 3 is negative 2, and then plus b. Now if we add 2 to both sides, we end up with b being 2. So now I can write my equation of the line. The equation of the line should be what? Y equals 2 over 3x plus 2 as your answer. Now, was there an easier way to do it? Yeah, well, if you have a graphic representation, then it's easier. Look, we figured out that the perpendicular slope was going to be 2 over 3. So from the given point, then just follow the path and go like, okay, I found the perpendicular slope. So from here, I got to move 2 up and 3 to the right. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. See that? And you got your line right there. Look, once you trace the line, you figure out what the y-intercept is automatically. Yeah, y-intercept is 2. And these two lines are perpendicular. So whichever way you want to do it, it doesn't matter. Okay. Determine whether the two lines represented by the equations are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. Justify your response. Okay, so let's find out the slope of this line. Okay, I'm gonna start with this one. So I'm gonna create two scenarios. So the slope of this line automatically is 2. Now the slope of this line is not very visible, right? But can be figured out. All you have to do is solve for y. So move the x to the other side and you're gonna have a negative 1x, right? And then you're gonna divide by 2. So the slope of this line is negative 1 over 2. As simple as that. Now, if you cannot still see it, then turn this into a 2 over 1. So notice this, 2 over 1. Flip the fraction, 1 over 2. Change the sign, negative 1 over 2. Therefore, these lines are perpendicular. So, these lines are perpendicular because their slopes are opposite reciprocals. That is why these lines are perpendicular, because their slopes are opposite reciprocals. Expressed as a trinomial. Well, x minus 9 to the second power is nothing more than x minus 9 times x minus 9. So then x times x, okay, is x squared, okay? And look, to get the middle term, do a smiley face like this. So this is 9x and this is 9x. So the whole thing is negative 18x. And then negative 9 times negative 9 is positive 81. If this is the long way, there is a shorter way. So let's see. All right, question number 11. Let's see. Oh gosh, I gotta move this. So solve for C. So I'm supposed to solve this equation for C, and then I'm supposed to find the Celsius temperature when the Fahrenheit temperature is 212. Perfect. So what we're going to do is we're going to solve for C. So I'm going to rewrite the equation. F equals to 9 over 5 C plus 32. Okay. So let's see. Solving for C. So do I have distributive property? No. Do I have fractions? Yes. So I'm going to multiply the whole equation by the common denominator. Okay. That's one thing. So then I have 5F, okay, equals, and then 5 times 9 is 45, divided by 5 is just 9. Or, remember, when you multiply by a fraction, you multiply by the top and divide by the bottom, or divide by the bottom, multiply by the top. So if I divide by the bottom, 5 divided by 5 is 1, times 9 is 9. You see, 9C, okay? Plus, what is 5 times 32? Well, I don't know, you tell me. Very good, 160. Okay, so now I go through all the properties, like terms, variables on both sides. Well, I do have variables on both sides, but in this case, I really can't because I'm never gonna get rid of one of them. I just need to solve for C. So I'm gonna use the additive inverse. So I'm gonna subtract 160 from both sides. So this 160 disappears, leaving me with 9C. Now on this side, I have 5F minus 160. And now all I gotta do is divide by 9, okay, on both sides. So if I divide by 9, I get what? Well, 5 divided by 9, just 5 over 9. I'm not gonna sweat it. F, right? Minus, and now what is 160 divided by 9? It's 17.8 or 78 if we round it. Okay then, now to answer the next question. By the way, I could have done something that is easily done. I could have factored the 160. Okay, I could have definitely factored the 160. How do I do that? It's kind of like, if I was to factor, what is the common factor here? 5, right? So you know what? No, I'm not gonna. Yeah, why not? I should. Let me just leave it like that. Okay. Yeah, I'll show it to you later. All right, so now what is the temperature when temperature Fahrenheit is 212? So I'm gonna substitute 212 right here. So 5 nines times 212, okay. So I have 5 over 9 times 212, okay, minus 17.7 or 17.8, sorry. Well, what is it? Well, first you multiply 5 times 212, correct? Okay, and then you divide by 9. So you're gonna get 117.78, okay, and now we subtract the 17.8, okay. Actually, let's round this to 17.8. Yeah, 117.8. Let's do that. All right, so this minus that, what is that? That gives you a total of, and by the way, this is supposed to be your temperature in Celsius. So C would be 100 degrees. All right. Okay, what else here? What is the length of the line segment has endpoints? Okay, so I need to use the distance formula. Remember what the distance formula is? So you have x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. And now we actually replace the values. Sure, let's make this the 2's and this the 1's. So I have x2 minus x1, so that will be 7 minus negative 1 squared plus, and now y2, 4 minus 9 squared. Continue doing the math. We have 7 minus negative 1 is 8. Square has to be 64. Plus 4 minus 9 is negative 5. Negative 5 squared is 25. So if we add these numbers, we end up with the square root of 89, which is basically choice number 2. Okay? So now let us grab this. Oh, I don't know what it's asking. It says given mn below, okay, with negative 6 comma 1 and n as 3 comma negative 5, which is right here. Okay, what is the equation of the line that passes through point 6 comma 1? Okay, that would be this one. Don't get confused with this. Okay, that's something else. The point is 6 comma 1 and it's parallel to this one. So they want a line parallel to mn that passes through this point. Well, the first thing I gotta figure out is what is the slope of mn. Well, let's see, a nice point, and then I think this is another nice point, and this is another nice point. So let me figure out 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3. Yeah, the slope is negative 2 over 3. Okay, so I go from the point here and I just have to follow the same slope, negative 2 over 3, and see where it takes me. So 1 2 1 2 3. Unfortunately, if I continue this way, I'm never gonna get a y-intercept, so I'm gonna go the opposite way. So 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3, and bada me bada boom bada bam, I found something. Okay, so that's my line right here, and it doesn't look straight. Well, I'm gonna make it straight because I don't like crooked things. It's just that I was on the camera. Okay, that is straight, just to set the example. Cool then. Anyways, so I know that my y-intercept is 1 2 3 4 5. My y-intercept is 5. So now I got the slope and I got the y-intercept, which is 5. And I just have to write the equation of my line, which is y equals negative 2 over 3 x, okay, plus 5. That is doing it algebraically like that. I mean graphically, okay, and showing work. Now let's say that you didn't know how to do it graphically and you want to actually show some algebraic work. Sure, you need the slope, which you already have here. Okay, a slope, the parallel lines have the same slope, so you're going to be using the same slope. Now you need the y-intercept, so you're going to have, oh, by the way, you got the slope, and the point that is given to you is 6 comma 1. So the point here is 6 comma 1. So once you have the slope and the point, you sum it upon y equals mx plus b. And now this is x and this is y, so that will be 1 equals to the slope that you're using, which is negative 2 over 3. You plug in the x, which is 6, and then continue with the math. Look, 6 times negative 2 is negative 12, divided by 3 is negative 4. So we would have 1 equals negative 4 plus b. You're going to add 4 to both sides, and b is 5. Same thing. Okay? Okay. Alright, what is an equation of the line that passes through point and is parallel to this line? Alright, so you already know what you need. You need the slope. So the slope of the line, this line is 3 over 2. So that means that the slope of a line parallel to it is also going to be 3 over 2. Once you have the slope and you have a point, now we sum it upon y equals mx plus b. And we substitute. This is x and this is y. So okay, 2 times 3 is 6, divided by 2 is 3. So that's negative times positive is negative. So 3 equals negative 3 plus b. Add 3 to both sides and you get b equals to 6. And now I just have to write the equation. Y equals 3 over 2x plus 6. Okay. Sorry, right here. Okay. Next one. Okay, identify the slope and the y-intercept, then write the equation that represents the slope of intercept form. Okay, so the slope is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, so positive 5 over 3. The y-intercept is negative 1. Your equation is 5 over 3 x minus 1. Alright, so AB is the diameter of a circle, M. So I have A and B. So this is the diameter of circle M. A circle is always named by the center, so this is M. This is A and this is B. Alright, so the coordinates here are negative 4, 3. And the corners of M, that means the center, the midpoint, is 1, 5. They want us to find the corners of B, so I'm just going to put x, y. Alright, so basically they don't want me to find the midpoint, they want me to find an endpoint. Oh, sure, I use the formula for the endpoint. So I'm going to find the endpoint of x, and then I'm going to find the endpoint of y. To find the endpoint, I multiply times 2 the midpoint of x, and subtract the other x. To find the endpoint of y, I multiply by 2 the midpoint of y, and I subtract the y component. And now I do the math. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 4, 6. 2 times 5 is 10, minus 3, 7. And now coordinates is for x is 6. For y is 7, and that's the end of it. Okay, so I have the diameter and I have the coordinates of one endpoint and the coordinates of the midpoint. Therefore, they want the coordinates of R. I'm gonna call it x, y, and I already know how to do midpoint. You add and divide by 2, but here they're asking me for the endpoint, so I'm just gonna use the same thing I did in the previous problem. So I'm gonna start with the endpoint of x. Okay, so multiply by 2 the midpoint of x, which is 3.5, sorry, and subtract the x component, which is 1. For the endpoint of y, multiply by 2 the midpoint of, wait, hold on a second. Oh yeah, it's 2. And subtract the y component, which is 8. And now I'm ready. So 2 times 3.5 is 7, minus 1 is 6. 2 times 2 is 4, minus 8 is negative 4. And the coordinates of point R, okay, are 6, negative 4. And that's it. Alright, so here we go. I'm supposed to construct an equilateral triangle inscribing the circle. Sure. Equilateral triangle. Let's do this. I need a compass. So, and I don't know what I do with my compass, so maybe I'm not gonna be able to do it. Uh-oh. I really need a compass. My students are ruining everything and I need a compass. Oh gosh. I don't have to do this one. Alright, I found one of the good ones, although I didn't want to open it because it's brand new. Alright, so if you already know how to do it, then oh my god, this doesn't have a thingy. A LED. Am I really like bound to these things? Alright, let me see if I can actually do something here. Alright. So what you're going to do, since I cannot find a nice compass in here, in this. Okay. Alright, so I barely found one and I'm gonna use it. To inscribe an equilateral triangle, measure the compass from the center to one point on the circle. Right here. Okay, so now make a mark on the circle, anywhere on the circle. So that's the mark I'm gonna do. And now with the same length that you measure, you go around. You don't have to make big marks. And you go back to where you started. So once you do that, all you have to do now is connect every other point. I'm not gonna connect this with this because I'm not doing a hexagon, I'm doing an equilateral triangle. So this with this or that with that, it really doesn't matter. Look. Equilateral triangle. That's it. That's the end of it. Alright. Now what else do I need to do? Now I'm supposed to inscribe a square in this circle. That's not a problem. I'll inscribe a square. So the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna trace a diameter. Okay, you trace a diameter. A diameter is a chord that goes anywhere like this. Anywhere I go here is gonna be a diameter. Okay, look. Even if I go here, this is a diameter because it goes through the middle. See that? Okay. Now all I gotta do is construct the perpendicular bisector of this diameter. Well, oops, it didn't reach all the way here, so I'm gonna make it reach. Yeah, okay. So I'm gonna do this. Open more than halfway. More than halfway, or if you want to open the whole thing, which I don't advise because it might not fit on your paper, like you want to open the whole thing, then by all means do it. Me, I already said, to construct the perpendicular bisector, you only need to open more than halfway. And with the same length, you go to the other end point. You see this one, not here. And you do this. I don't even need to draw the whole, like, the whole arc. I just need the intersection points. And now, I join this point with this point. And now I have constructed my square. How? Where? Well, right here. You're going to connect all these points where the chords and the diameter intersect the circle. So here, this one with that, right? See that? Now this one with that. This right here. And finally, and there goes your square. It is a square. All right, is there anything else? Oh yeah, okay. So it says, using a compass and a straight edge, construct an altitude, okay, of triangle ABC below. All right, and a triangle has 3 altitudes. So I really don't care which one you want to start. I could start with, first of all, what is an altitude? It goes from the vertex of a triangle and is perpendicular to the opposite side. Like for example, perpendicular means that this will go perpendicular to this side right here. So the altitude will be outside the triangle. Okay, so it really doesn't matter. I'm going to do exactly that. You know what? I'm gonna do exactly that. I'm gonna draw all 3, not all 3, but at least 2 of the altitudes. All right. In order for you to do your altitude, okay, I'm gonna extend this side right here. Okay. And now I am going to create my own line segment. So I'm gonna go from vertex A and I'm gonna create my own line segment. Let's see if I can actually do it. So I just need, okay, you can construct a circle if you want to. I just need the points of intersection. I just need to create my own line segment. So I did. See that? This is my line segment. And now from this line segment, just construct the perpendicular bisector. You know how to do that. Open more than halfway and do this. Go to this new one. Okay, and you could label it. You could call this E and you call this F. Really doesn't matter. Anyway, you construct your perpendicular bisector. And look, it will go through this point, believe it or not. That, my friends, is your altitude. It forms 90-degree angles and it goes from the vertex. So that's how you do it. Now let's say you don't want this altitude. Let's say you want the altitude AC and you want it to go from B because that's the way the altitude would go. Alright then, so then I will turn the paper around so it looks easier for me. And remember, to create your altitude, you need to create your own line segment. So I go to vertex B and I create my own line segment. Let me see. Look. I just created my own line segment. And then from there, you create your perpendicular bisector. So you open more than halfway the length of the segment and you go like this. Go to the next point. That's why it's nice to label them. And you do this. And now you just created your other altitude. I don't know if you see it, but it goes from the vertex. It's awesome. It's actually right accurate. See that? This goes from here. Okay, if you want to erase this part, you could erase it. If you want to leave it, you want to leave it. Anybody understands that that's an altitude. Okay, it doesn't have to be perfect. You should leave the contraction marks. So this is an altitude because it's 90-degree angles. Alright, that's the end. I'm not going to construct the other altitude. I just showed you enough. Thank you very much. This has been your test. Whether you pass or fail is in your hands. Bye-bye.